Guys, it's Maverick here today with episode 2 of Chainsaw Man. So, as I said before, I am coming into this series completely blind. I don't know anything about it except that the main character, has a chainsaw for his head and is apparently kind of gory and bloody. So, last episode was really the first introduction. I'm liking it so far. I can see, the animations are great. I can definitely get the feeling that this is very similar to Jujutsu Kaisen. A lot of people are saying that maybe Chainsaw Man came first, etc., etc. Well, we'll see about that, right? But I do like the supposed dynamic that we're going for right now. Last episode at the very end, one of the other main characters, Makima, I believe, the girl, showed up, and so I'm assuming that in this episode we're going to learn a little bit more about the backstory of this world, the general settings and whatnot, like some power levels, how these devils came to be, and what exactly they're supposed to do, right? So hopefully in this episode we'll have a lot more to talk about in the musing section. For the time being, well, let's just jump right into the episode. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1... play. Okay. Okay. Cool. Still, she still kind of reminds me of Kurusu from Steins Gate. You're her dog now. The owners are supposed to. Yeah, owners are supposed to take care of their pets, eh? hmm I mean, I don't blame you, but somehow I feel like this might not be the best decision for you, Ninja. But hey, yeah, everybody has their own. I certainly feel Makima is quite attractive as well. Hmm. So the main is still like 4 people, right? Right. I'm actually now that I kind of know who the main character is and whatnot. I'm paying a little bit more attention to the opening here. But there's not really too much I can say at this point. Once again, not only Jujutsu Kaisen, the other series that really comes to my mind is Dorohedoro in terms of its aesthetic and style. For breakfast? Or Pochita. Like I said, I choose to believe that he's still, because his heart is in Denji, right? So perhaps his conscience is still there. So my question is Makima also someone? So does Makima also have some, or actually, I guess the question should be, do normal people have special abilities? No, well, that pillow. I was just about to say he really seems like a kid, but all right. That was some quick thinking on his part. That's like this girl. This girl, man. Uh, she's got Denji completely wrapped around her finger. I mean, I do have to wonder, like Denji, like we saw his upbringing, right? I don't think he really had any kind of proper upbringing, to be said. Oh, okay. Here's the important world building portions. Because you're government. Okay, so I'm guessing there's also private devil hunters as well, not necessarily just under government work. Nope. This girl. Man. She she's good. She is good. He actually calls him senpai. This guy. I mean, I kind of argue love is a pretty good motivation. Hey, don't don't underestimate the power of simps. I mean, really, just like that? Man, this Aki guy is pretty damn weak. If he can just get, like, jumped like that. Yeah. What kind of, like, elementary school fight is this? Maki's not like, you two just get out of here. Her eyes. you know, this guy really has an attitude and all that. I actually kind of feel for him, having to put up with Dingy. Whatever you say, dude. Like I said, I feel for this guy. Alright, alright. Now the actual serious part. Like his chainsaw hood. Okay. I mean, he was literally friends with the devil. Yeah, I have a feeling this Aki guy is just like one big softy. Is he gonna like revive? What are you trying to do? This dude. Seriously? Touch Makima's boobs? Oh, is it a girl? Yep. The one with devil. The one with horns on her head, right? Boobs. Good. You know, the fact that Makima's eyes are like that and her eyes are like that. So is Makima also a fiend? So her name is just literally power? Now Denji knows what it's like to be Aki. You know, this girl. Similarly simple minded, like Denji. That you. Nice. Brock! What an introduction. I mean, it's certainly an interesting introduction to everything, but okay, now that we actually, have an animation with this as well, I will be watching this part. Alright, so now that I think about it, the opening scene in the first episode was probably, sometime after this, right? Like one of the missions or whatnot. Well, interesting, interesting. That's all I can like. It definitely is going for a certain kind of aesthetic, a certain kind of feel, right? But we'll talk more about this at the end of this. So see you guys in just a second. Well, alright, that was a pretty quick introduction to the crew, right? No nonsense at all, right into it. But hey, I think that's actually a good thing. I was actually thinking of a similar progression to Jujutsu Kaisen, where, in this first episode, in this second episode, maybe we see a little bit more about the dynamic between Denji and Hayakawa, but no, power is instantly introduced as well, and we get the power foursome, I guess you could say. And I hate to keep on bringing back up Jujutsu Kaisen, right? But I mean, come on, the similarities speak for themselves. The group dynamics as well. It's not like this is the only series that does this kind of group dynamic, but I think anybody would be hard pressed to say that there aren't similarities between these two series. I'll try to keep the comparisons to a lowdown, and definitely I won't go into like which one is better or whatnot. But I feel you have to mention it, right? It's the elephant in the room here. Beyond that, I do. Let's talk a little bit about these different characters, right? So Hayakawa, like I said, even though instantly he comes off as very standoffish to Denji, you can't really blame him, to be honest. Considering like if we didn't know of Denji's upbringing and whatnot, yeah, he's a rude, loud, and very impolite punk, essentially. Now, should Hayakawa use those kinds of methods to punk him instead? Maybe not, but I do have to feel for him, right? Putting up with this dude and also having to take care of him and whatnot. I mean, Denji's literally his responsibility now, right? So it can't be an easy job. And I kind of get the feeling, like, backstory notwithstanding, I kind of get the feeling that Hayakawa is probably one of those softy characters, the type that tries to act all cool and collected and whatnot, but is actually a big softy and more often than not tries to cover for you, right? And tries to be a good bro about it. So that's my initial feeling, right? And it's kind of this kind of character archetype that we have here. So that's the vibe that I'm getting off of him. And what can I say? Like, even though he certainly insulted our main character, I have to say that it was kind of deserved, right? And not to mention Asuka himself also got his balls kicked in, so I think we're equal on that part. So I can only feel sympathy for this dude. And Denji, well, I mean, it's certainly a refreshing take on... Well, should I say refreshing take? It's an interesting take, let's put it this way, on the main character, right? Having this sort of, having the combination of a childlike innocence and also a childlike perversiveness, if that's a thing, he literally seems like an elementary schooler. That's basically his personality, right? Including even the, I want to touch boobs and whatnot. I feel like it's really similar to like a middle schooler or an elementary schooler, that kind of thing, which kind of makes sense considering he never went to school and he's literally homeschooled and whatnot. So this is his education process, right? This is his coming of age process. So it kind of makes sense that, I mean, we'll have to see later on whether it becomes too annoying or whatnot. I definitely could see a situation where it kind of like goes over and turns into a situation where it's very, very annoying. But I feel like, at least for now, and in this episode, even though, we certainly see him doing some very facepalm worthy stuff, I feel like it's handled relatively well. It never drags on to the point where, you feel secondhand embarrassment or you're just like, dude, shut up, or something of that. So I feel like, it just toes the line between being funny and annoying. So good on them for actually being able to toe the line. Power, she's an interesting girl, that's all I can say. And even though she's, I guess, technically they're supposed to be portraying her as loud and obnoxious and whatnot, and a little bit of a chuny as well, even though to her it's really because she is a fiend, she does have those powers, literally. So, it doesn't really, you can't really say it's chuny if she's able to back it up, right? But, again, on the verge of being annoying and yet being able to hold it in as well. So they're all kind of like towing the line. All three of these characters are really like towing the line there between being unlikable versus likable. And I feel like if there's anything that I can say throughout these two episodes, it's that they're certainly portraying these characters on a very fine line, and I think that's admirable, right? That's something to be amazed by, pleased by, if that's the correct word. And it's a it's a fine balance, and they're doing a great job of it, is what I'm saying here. And of course, we have to talk about Makima as well. Again, even though she's giving off this sort of like queen aura, this kind of like very sadistic kind of girl kind of aura, but at the same time, because she has these softer tendencies to her as well. So you also like she's also towing the fine line between being obnoxious and being some character that's that you want to hate, versus I think it's relatively okay, right? So, like I said, throughout this entire episode, my thinking on Makima was, damn, she handles that balance completely, completely to a T, right? So for the rest of the characters, it's more so, they're passively doing this, right? So, but here, you get the feeling that Makima is the one in control here, right? She is the one who fully realizes how she comes off, and she's utilizing that to her advantage, right? So she's very deliberately towing this fine line here, and that's why I'm saying that she is certainly a very admirable and formidable foe, although she's not supposed to be a foe, she's supposed to be a friend, right? Now, one thing I will have to comment on right now is definitely her eyes, right? It particularly stood out to me in this episode, especially when you compare it with Power's eyes as well, which is also special. So this definitely leads me to believe that Makima is probably also a fiend, or has some sort of devil powers vested within her as well. Otherwise, they wouldn't have drawn her eyes that way, right? Whereas Hayakawa, I think, seems to be just your old regular human being. I think that's what he's coming off of. That's how he's being portrayed. I could be wrong, but this is just in the second episode, first time seeing these characters, that's my impression as of this point. So we got that going for us. And as for the actual like setting and whatnot, they didn't really go into it as much as I would have wanted. I guess this is more of a character building and character introduction episode rather than a world setting episode. I was thinking that they were going to talk a little bit more about the background situation and whatnot in this episode, but apparently they're saving it for later. So at this point, all we know is that devils are a common occurrence, and it's something that the public eye also knows, but there actually are other devil hunters beyond just the government sanctioned ones, if you will, or those who are working in the government as part of the policing force, if you will. So would that be relevant in the future or not? I mean, I would certainly envision a situation where they would probably come into contact with other devil hunters. I mean, the main characters here would probably come into contact with other devil hunters, and we might be seeing some fireworks, some sparks going off there, but I'm fully expecting that kind of storyline anyways, but that's probably further on down the line. And as for this sort of like special division, if you will, certainly I feel that basically reinforces my belief that Makima herself probably has some sort of special ability or special condition, and so that's why she was the one chosen to lead this sort of like special division, which probably is more the way that it's special is because they're utilizing these humans with special abilities, these fiends, or in Denji's case, I guess we can't really say like what he's supposed to be. This is apparently a first for them as well, but maybe we'll see others in the future who are similar to Power, those that are fiends but are able to still retain their own consciousness and retain their rational thinking and whatnot, even if they are a little bit crazy, and being able to work for the service of the public, right? And keep an eye on them. They're also a great firepower as well. Hey, everybody wins in the end, right? And yeah, I think that's basically it for this episode. There's actually not really too much else that we need to look at here. I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't really get an actual fight here. Like even the ending there with Power taking out that sea cucumber devil. I mean, it wasn't really as impactful as I think it could have been. I was fully like, I think that was supposed to be like a wow moment and let us showing us her power and roll the end credits, right? Something like that. But as it turns out, I don't really think it necessarily had that sort of impact. Even though, I mean, sure, we see that explosion of blood and guts and whatnot, but yeah, it's, I don't know. It definitely didn't really maybe because we've already seen the first episode, we've already seen Denji like take out like dozens and dozens of these zombie devils with blood flying everywhere. So I guess this scene doesn't really seem as impactful when you, in comparison, when you've already seen something similar to this before, right? And you already know that she's a fiend, and you already know that she's supposedly very powerful, right? If there was actually a gap where, you know, she seemed kind of useless or whatnot, or she didn't have this confidence radiating out of her, and then she pulls out something like this, I feel like the shock factor would definitely be a lot higher. But as it is, you know, I have to say it's almost kind of expected, right? We kind of expect her to pull off something like this. So the impactfulness of the scene just wasn't quite there, if you will, which isn't really a slight on, you know, either the anime or the animation or whatnot. It's just an unfortunate circumstance of, you know, we've already seen something similar in the past episode. So yeah. Not really too much else to add, I guess, at this point in time. I definitely do want to learn a lot more in regards to Makima, you know, her past, her special abilities, if any, and the whole reason for this division. But I suspect in the next episode, probably we'll be seeing Denji transform once again, and this time in an official capacity as one of the government workers, in terms of hunting down a devil, right? I mean, this episode, we didn't get to see it. Next episode, I'm expecting him to, you know, pull off his transformation and show his new colleagues and new friends what exactly he can do. So there you go. That's it for the second episode of ChainsawMan. Thank you guys. Let me know if I missed anything, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.